So we're over here at the Catalyst, an article by Mark Parker. City implements van life restrictions. I know what you're thinking. Why is everybody out to get the van life people? But, you know, it's not that they're out to get you, it's just you're kind of a public nuisance. So, as you can see, the whole strip here is, you know, filled with vans, people living in their van, and I'm not knocking van life. I live in a car. I love it. It's great. Like this is the life. Like there should be parking lots everywhere. Like pave paradise and put up a parking lot. Like the whole nation should just be filled with just parking lots with all the amenities for van life people and RV people that you can just go and just park. And there could be surveillance and the whole 9 yards. And, people would gladly pay a small fee, you know, or nothing at all, one or the other. But we could easily, as a nation, make it so that van life is a viable way to live and not looked upon as something horrible. So as you can see here, it says St. Petersburg city council members approved changing outdated code language to curb van life trend overtaking the streets, which it is. If you're living in your van for a couple days in a parking spot, no one else can get that spot. And like, if you've ever lived in a city that doesn't have parking, like Lakewood, Ohio, or even New York, or any of those cities, any city, any downtown area, any busy or highly populated area, there's never anywhere to park. So if people are just parked on the side streets and taking up all the spots for days at a time, then no one else can go there and enjoy it. And like it says there, outdated code language, which basically means that there's a lot more people doing van life or RV life. And the majority of the people doing van life right now are doing it out of necessity. I mean, it costs, you know, $700 to $800 a month for a damn near a studio or a one bedroom apartment these days in Strongsville, Ohio, or not even Strongsville, in Parma, Ohio, right? So, like, living is very expensive. So, it's understandable that people wanted to go, to do the van life thing. And on top of that, you get to travel and you get to enjoy St. Pete's, and it's great, you know? But it's become a problem because so many people are doing it. And it's not just a problem for, the people in St. Pete's that were complaining about it. It's a problem for the whole nation because people can't afford to live in their own country anymore. Right? So, St. Petersburg officials hope to approved ordinance amendments will curb the city's online reputation as a haven for bohemian social media supported movement known as van life. So, of course, you found a great spot and then you shared it and you shared it and then they shared it and then everybody came and now there's no room for anybody. It's you can't share everything. So now it's over and you don't even want to see like the change, like how big the change is. So it says rent and hotel costs have soared along St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg's popularity, while a night at the Vinoy Resort or golf club is nearly $500. So it costs $500 to spend one night in St. Petersburg. Right? I'm sure there's probably cheaper places, But like I'm saying is that 90% of those people are avoiding high rent costs. So these most of these people are not there for, they're there for a slice of recreation, but most of these people living in these vans are like literally living in the van, and it doesn't matter really where they're at when they do it. Of course, St. Petersburg is beautiful. It's a great place to be. I've been kicked out of every rest area in St. Petersburg because there's a security guard there and he's really watching you. And he's not watching you because he hates the fact that you're there. He's watching you because if they don't watch you and they don't regulate how much time you spend there, there won't be any time for a weary traveler that's just looking for a place to stay or hang out for a couple hours to rest. If you just move there, and an auto life person, so like I understand, I know about it. Like I understand what it's all about. So like when I got kicked out of every rest area in St. Petersburg, at first I was mad because they knocked on the window and woke you up. You were sleeping. But when I was leaving, I could see that the place was, could easily fill up. So they got to regulate it so that everyone can get a little slice of the heaven that is St. Petersburg. So people are parking their mobile homes or their van life across the street from places that cost a fortune to stay at. And then they're advertising it on their YouTube channels. People are renting buses. So city council members voted 6-1 January 18th to amend outdated ordinance that allowed dozens of modified vans and buses to line neighborhood streets and downtown waterfront parking. So the director of transportation, now this person probably has a YouTube channel and may very well have gotten suggested this, you know, thing that people were doing. And it says his office began receiving an influx of complaints from residents and business owners in early 2023. Because right now it's massive, like so many people are doing it. So it says here there are YouTube videos published advertising St. Petersburg is a great place to visit and camp on the street. Now, anybody that's anybody knows damn well that you don't want somebody camped outside your home or your residence in their van, the creepy white van, the guy that got out one time while he's in there. So it says here, through Airbnb, you can experience van life in downtown St. Pete for one night for $60. So somebody's making money off of van life. And it says here it sleeps four and has zero bathrooms. So, um, the people that live there, they're wondering where everybody's using the restroom, you know? And it's not a public place, so there's no public restrooms and there's no public trash cans, right? Because anybody that does van life, you need a trash can around. So yeah, so people are living in their vans. They don't have any restrooms. There's nowhere to dispose of their waste. There are places where you can dispose of your. Oh, this is funny that I'm talking about this because this has really bothered me before when I first heard somebody talking about this. But when you're emptying your septic system for your RV, this guy that I was talking to, what they call it is black water. And immediately in my mind, you know what I was thinking. They don't call it their septic tank water. They call it black water, and I think anyone that's watching this knows why they call it black water. So yeah, it's horrible. So they go through here about how like tell you how much it costs to to get van life going. Anywhere from 10,000, $4,000. So for like 15 grand, you can get yourself an older van, which is probably not going to be reliable because it's older. It's really complicated vans. You put all that stuff in it, it's really heavy. You're like, oh, it's not over the weight limit, but it doesn't matter what the van can carry. The weight is costing you fuel economy and it's wear and tear on your vehicle. So, so Maury said the city has regulated that RVs are now domestic equipment, which basically means motorhomes, recreational vehicles, campers, travel trailers. And the reason they're calling it domestic equipment is because can technically be a home, um, and at a campground where you pay or where you're, at your some of the state campgrounds, you can reserve a spot for like weeks at a time, and you got to check in or whatever, and they have facilities, so that's what it means, domestic equipment, because you can live in it. So now they limit it. Now passenger vans less than 24 feet long were exempt. So pretty much everything is going to be banned. So it said the governing board spoke on behalf of concerned citizens, understandably so. It said van lifers create makeshift camps and their modified vehicles complete with cooking equipment, lawn furniture, and sound systems. So these people are just downright just living it up on the side of the road, camping out right across the street from your house. You common sense would tell you that this is not okay. I mean, the least that you could do is do the campground thing, or use. But in St. Pete's, there's no rest areas where you can spend the night. They're gonna kick you out because they have limited space. So these people are just living it up, and determined by like where you're at. As you can see here, it says some of the places have facilities, parks, swimming pools, showers, and restrooms. For the people that are just there for fun for a day. Checking out a beach or whatever it may be. That's what those things are for. They're not there for you to move in. So it said, but we do not believe these vehicles should be allowed to park full time on residential streets. Totally understandable. I don't want some guy living in a white van across the street from my house. I live in my car. You know what I'm saying? I totally understand it. So people made like actual vlogs, and like there's a whole like community built around this. And as you can see here, experience van life in downtown St. Pete for $60 in this van, this bus that this person converted. So it said the problem was not confined to areas around waterfront and neighborhoods immediately north. Highlighted RVs parked adjacent to St. Pete's along 34th Street, just a residential area. So when people come to just visit and just see things and just enjoy it for a walk or whatever, there's nowhere to park because everyone's taking up all the spots. And people are doing this in full size RVs. So beginning Thursday, ending Monday morning, they could park for the whole weekend. So now you went from being able to camp on the street in a residential area for an entire weekend with no restrictions. What the city had done for a long time, so they let it go, but the population of people doing van life, RV life has boomed. It's like quadrupled. They say it's tripled, but I think it's more than that. Like, I'm seeing all kinds of people out here. So many homes lack alley access, which prevents them from stowing a boat in their backyards, right? So now people that live there can't use the something that they would regularly be able to use if van life people weren't there. So now they found a solution and they limited it. So now property rights of people who are going to not be allowed to park anything like this, right? So now people that live there are not going to be able to stow a vehicle there like they would have regularly because people were coming from all over the country to spend the whole weekend there. So now the people that live there are restricted because of other people that don't live there. And, common sense would tell you that that's downright wrong. Like, say you live in an area and you usually park your car on the street and you go into your home and you've been doing it forever, and then all of a sudden there's an influx of campers outside your house. They're taking your spot now. So, although parking on the street is public infrastructure, it's across the street from your house. So you should be able to use it, and people absolutely do. But with these van life people, they can't now. So you ruined it for the people that live there now. Man, I already went through the article. So they limited now from being able to stay there for a weekend. So now the max is 22 feet. So that's like the shortest van you can get. What it said. It said the I don't know. The article I read on my phone said it went from being able to park there all weekend to 4 hour parking now. So now the people that live there that would have had company, somebody, coming into town for Christmas or a holiday, whatever holiday, their friends and family would park on the street and then spend the night there for the weekend in their house. Well, now they can't do that now because people were downright living on the street. And St. Pete's is not a big place, man. It's pretty small. But yeah, that's it. So it went from weekend parking to 4 hour parking for residents and people from out of town because of this, because of vlogs and people making videos. Like, the last thing I'm gonna do is, yeah, here you go, $2 million condos, and this guy's parked in his van right across the street. Now, if you got any sense, you know that is just downright wrong. So yeah, so here it went. So increased from the amount of people that are living in their vans increased from 1.9 million to 3.1 million. So a lot of people are living in their vans right now, and I don't consider it an epidemic because I enjoy it, and a lot of the people that are doing it enjoy it. But unfortunately, even if you're enjoying it, like, most of those people are doing it out of necessity. Like this person here in this van, like, these aren't these aren't people that are just vacationing. Like, these people are legit living in their vans and they go wherever they can. And like this car here, this person lives across the street from there. They live there, but this person isn't. So now you take these couple cars out and you add a van here and a van here. Now this person that lives across the street from here doesn't have anywhere to park now. So there are places that you can go and you can do van life, and you gotta move around on a daily basis unless you're in one of the state parks where you can stay for weeks at a time. But unfortunately, if you're in a state park and you want to do a lot of internet stuff, your internet is going to be, it's going to be not good. So if you're a YouTuber, you're trying to upload videos or whatever you're trying to do, it's going to take all day to upload a video, or you got to leave. And this van life thing, it's a problem, but it's also a solution at the same time. Because in my opinion, um, I'd rather live in my car than a studio apartment. I can see out the windows, I can see everything, you know. It has its charms. And like I said earlier in the video, I think that we need to pave paradise and put up a shit ton of parking lots in this nation with surveillance and security and let people stay as long as they want. It says that, it said there that like in excess of 3 million people are doing it. I don't see any reason why there can't be 10 million parking spots throughout the nation that can cover all these people. So everybody that's doing van life, we could easily have restrooms and everything that we need. And if you drive, say you take South Florida for instance, you're driving along the canals at 75. There's rest areas and recreational areas, places to park, and they're great. The disadvantage of them is you gotta move every day because the troopers are watching because they don't want somebody to be sitting in their car dead or sick. It's not that they don't want you to be there. It's just that they're worried about your safety. You know. And if you look around the canals, there's no reason why the entire stretch of 75 on both sides couldn't be the recreational areas or rest areas that you see. So there's easily enough undeveloped and flat land that there could be a shit ton of parking places throughout the nation where people could go and do the van life thing and basically live there. And there'd be surveillance, there'd be restrooms. And think about it like this too. There could be vending machines that had everything that you could possibly need, all the way down to pharmaceuticals, aspirin, women's hygiene products, so anything that you need. And if this was done, they could make a lot of money off of these vending machines. Keep them reasonably priced. Just slightly above gas station prices, and they could easily make enough money off of vending machines and other services to fund the upkeep of the place. One security guard, surveillance cameras, and the restrooms easily. You know, and the van life could be a viable solution for this country. Like I said earlier, I would much rather live in a van than a one bedroom apartment. Like living in a one bedroom apartment is horrible. And if you're living, if you're, a blue collar worker, the only home, unless you've been really good with your money throughout your life, the only home that you can afford to rent or buy is in a not so great neighborhood. If you're making 55,000 a year or something like that, you can only afford to live where your budget is, because you need to be putting some money away. You got to have some savings, for when you retire to supplement your social security. So, unfortunately, people are living in their vans because they can't afford to live in a decent place on what they make. And like I know this to be a fact because I've experienced it. If you're a single man or a single woman living on your own making $25-$30 an hour is it's not that great. You don't eat good, you got to sacrifice something. Either you got a small apartment and your services, you got cut rate insurance, car insurance, you got cut rate this, you don't have health care. Like if you want to live in a nice area, you have to downgrade your some things to live there. Or you can eat like a king and live in a cheap apartment, or you can live in an expensive apartment and not eat at all. It's really complicated, and it's a tough life to do van life, but it's not any tougher than just doing a regular life in a one bedroom apartment or a small house. And van life and RV life is most definitely the solution. You could easily, you know, even a small family can live in a decent sized RV. It's all about, taking the good with the bad and enjoying what you have or what you can, you know. But I just wanted to talk about this for a moment because it hits close to home to me because I experienced it and I'm technically doing it. All right, hey, thanks for anybody that stopped by and checked this video out. I'm out of here. Peace.